Since this seems to be a time when Americans are discussing, at least I hope they will continue discussing, the political climate, and particularly whether there is an incipient fascism at play in our political culture, I thought I would offer a couple of words on the topic of fascism. Now, this is a word that I have studiously and carefully avoided using because I think in this country it's become little more than an insult, right? It's you call somebody a fascist if you hate them and they're more conservative than you. I don't know what you call them. I guess a communist. I mean, people don't even understand these words. Rachel Maddow, to her credit, addressed this in some detail the other night in talking about Donald Trump, and she correctly pointed out that fascism isn't just a word; it's a term with meaning. Now, people disagree on what the meaning is. Rachel is certainly knowledgeable on this stuff. I believe she has a PhD in political science. But even among political scientists, there's no real consensus about what fascism means. But there are some points of agreement. Rachel touched on one when she said that fascist political gatherings tend to encourage or at least expect a little violence around the edges, that their leaders are excessively macho and chauvinistic, that they brook no dissent, that there's trust in a great leader. But there are a couple other generally agreed upon, not universally, but generally agreed upon characteristics of fascism, and it's worth keeping those in mind as well. One is the belief that the fascist state combines the resources of the government, of the state, with those of large corporations. That is, in fact, a known historical characteristic of fascism. So fascism is, to a certain extent, a corporate state. Fascism is also generally considered to be very closely tied in with the idea of a state religion. So, in other words, religious institutions and religious beliefs are very closely associated with fascism. A couple other things. One, Umberto Eco, the writer, wrote a number of points of what he thought fascism included. So have other people. And here are some of the other points where people seem to agree. There is a cult of tradition, that what was traditional is best. There's a belief in action for action's sake. Get out there and do something, even if you don't know whether it will help or hurt. The idea that if you disagree, you're a traitor. A fear of people who are different, an appeal to a frustrated middle class, an obsession with conspiracies. That's another characteristic of fascism. The idea of contempt for the weak, the people you consider inferior, including the physically disabled, religious minorities, the poor, whoever else it might be. What Eco called selective populism, that the people's will should be carried out, but the leader will decide what the people's will is. And then the whole concept of newspeak, of broadly and baldly lying, of just making up your own reality and taking it from there, of being based in propaganda. Okay, those are the characteristics of a fascist state. It's really not up to me to say at this moment whether we are in the danger or at risk of turning into one. It's really up to all of us. So I guess I would turn the question around and ask you, what do you think? Are we in danger of turning into a fascist state?